Today we are going to demonstrate the use of the vacuum activator. The vacuum activator normally consists of a embudo in español,
Funnel.
a funnel. The vacuum activator consists of a funnel together with a membrane. The membrane which is put on top of the funnel indicates if there is a negative pressure or a positive pressure. So the funnel is an instrument to indicate the intraoral pressure. If the funnel is placed on top of the vacuum activator, the measurement of the pressure and the indication of the pressure is performed in the Frankel space. This is very important. We have two connections of the vacuum activator, and at first both of the connections are directed to the Frankel space. This is number one with the funnel as an indicator, and this is number two, which in this moment is closed. We may connect it to perform some exercises extra. So first of all, we are going to train the
child.
The child or
Child lady.
child lady. So we are going to train the basic function of the intraoral negative pressure, which is controlled by the pressure inside the Frankel space. We use normally the vacuum activator in the original form or with the shortened lateral membrane. This depends on the anatomy. The majority of people use the shortened form. If the shortened membrane is used, the production of saliva is significantly reduced. So we may use the vacuum activator to show if the Frankel space exhibits negative pressure. Now I first will show to you how to do it, and afterwards I suggest that you make the same exercise. So the activator is placed between the teeth and the lips, and the only thing we have to do is swallow and observe what is happening. As you can see, the activator shows only an inversion of the membrane, and this is the indicator which gives the clear signal there is negative pressure. So would you be so kind to do the same exercise? Okay, please swallow and breathe quietly. Be so kind to swallow again and breathe quietly. Okay, as you can see, the membrane is slightly inverted, not with a very strong negative pressure, but slightly inverted, and this is sufficient to place the tongue into the position which is needed to maintain the upper tongue position and to close the three different valves of the mouth. So
very important to have the lips are relaxed.
That's right. The lips do not have any muscle tension. The lips can be kept in a relaxed position without continuous activation. If you swallow again, please do it. So by repetition of the swallow, the membrane may invert a little bit stronger. So the negative pressure is increased. This is not necessary continuously, because the more pressure you use, the more pressure is exerted on the mucous membrane, and this may be harmful on the long run. So we work with a minimum of negative pressure which is needed to keep the tongue in its upper position, in the up-lock position. So the up-lock position is clearly proven by the inversion of the membrane, and if you try to open your mouth now, it is difficult. It is difficult. So please, it's nearly impossible. So please take the little cap, and so you may have noticed that taking the cap away, then the pressure rapidly is the pressure drops, and therefore the opening of the mouth is possible again. So after taking away the little membrane, this is a nice exercise. We are able to open our mouth again. So let's do it again. I also will do the same exercise. You hear the noise when the pressure is okay. It's a heavy negative pressure inside the mouth if you use the vacuum activator with a high negative pressure. But for our exercise on the long run, and to keep the tongue in its position, in its desired position, it is not necessary to have a negative pressure, a very strong negative pressure, but it is sufficient to have a slight negative pressure which is indicated clearly by the membrane. So this is our first exercise. And now I would like to show you the use of the other little instrument, which is called Liplock. The Liplock device has two ends, which allow to keep the Liplock in a horizontal position, and which indicates the direction of the placement of the membrane. So, like the vacuum activator, the Liplock has a membrane which is put in between the lips and the teeth. So
it's more of a shield. This is a membrane, no? It's a shield.
Okay, so you're right. We have to discern between the membrane which is put on top of the funnel, and here we only have the membrane which is placed between the lips and the teeth, which is a very small and flexible membrane, which can be used to ensure the negative pressure by having a very which can be used to ensure the negative pressure inside the mouth, also by the suction test. I will show you how we use this device. We place it in the name. We place it in the name. We place it in the same manner as the vacuum activator, and we repeat the swallowing. So I placed the Liplock device, and by the traction test we can prove that the Liplock is clearly fixed inside the mouth, like the vacuum activator. Would you be so kind to do this exercise also? So closing the lips, we may place it, and by tearing a little bit on, you may put it into a horizontal position, and now please swallow. Okay, and breathe normally. Please. And breathe normally. Okay. It's a little bit difficult. So, I show you again that the lip lock cannot be displaced if the negative pressure is active. So, okay. So putting it inside. Yeah. Yeah. You place the lip lock, and now please swallow just one time. And okay. So try to pull on the strips, and this is the proof that the negative pressure is present. You can pull, and the pull test indicates that the lip lock is firmly inside the mouth. So please open the mouth. Difficult, but possible. And in the moment the pressure is lost, then the device can be removed. So comparing these two devices, the vacuum activator can be used to indicate the degree of pressure, and to be used for a double measurement of pressure in the Doppler space and in the Frankel space. Additionally, we may add some liquids to allow a better swallowing during the exercises. So there are a lot of possible function and a lot of possible exercises we can do with this device. And the simple lip lock shows if there is negative pressure or not, if there is negative pressure or not. So by this way we can place this little device especially during the night. Okay, so this little device can be used mainly when sleeping, when it's not necessary to get information about what's happening inside the mouth. Okay, have you got some questions?
To me, this is very comfortable. I don't know why. I like this one very much.
See.
Yes,
me too.
Eh?
Okay, so it's the vacuum activator, I think, can be controlled better. The funnel and the membrane allow to control the degree of negative pressure, which is inside the Frankel space, but it has also a lot of functional aspects which can be later on explained, connecting it to manometer or using syringes to apply liquids when swallowing. Okay, so now we will show the use of the two-channel vacuum activator.
Muy bien.
Hay que cortarla. Para tener, como dice.
Sí.
So we place it inside. And pull it through the vacuum activator. Llega hasta el espacio donder. Entonces ve hacia arriba, el otro ponemos por aquí y falta la conexión hacia la segunda, hacia el segundo embudo. Se puede cortarlo un poco más. Este aquí. Entonces medimos ahora el espacio donder. Ahora está conectado. Este da al espacio donder. El otro, ¿cómo estamos? Este canal está cerrado y el embudo con esta conexión va directo al espacio donder. Sabemos que la lengua debe cerrar aquí el espacio donder y es un poco difícil para la lengua cerrar esta estructura. Por eso una succión, una deglución debe repetirse para producir suficiente presión negativa para que la lengua se coloque fuertemente alrededor del límite del espacio donder. Entonces cambiamos el activador de vacío en un instrumento de medición de presión entre medio lengua y el paladar duro. Antes medimos entre medio de la fila dentaria y los labios. Es muy importante que sepamos que las dos. It is important to mention that this type of measuring implies the measurement of the pressure inside the donder space. Previously, we measured inside the Frankel space, and this connection to the Frankel space now is closed with this little tab. So now we can use the same instrument, but applying this tube and another funnel, yes, applying the tube, funnel and membrane to measure inside the donder space. Okay, to the funnel. Okay, so the funnel is placed firmly to the tube, and we now have the measuring device, the closure of the Frankel space, and this one now is directed to the donder space. We may cut it here at about 3 to 4 centimeters. So, chip. And okay, now swallow repetitively, 2 or 3 times to get sufficient negative pressure.
Ay, yo no logro la presión. Sí, sí.
So, removing the membrane is very easy to pull the vacuum activator outside, but you need some 2 or 3 swallowing actions to produce sufficiently negative pressure. And now, when the pressure is generated, then the device keeps in place and cannot be pulled out until you open the funnel, and then the negative pressure is lost. I place the activator with the connection to the donor space, and then I swallow repetitively.
Así un poquito nomás.
Para coserlo está difícil, ¿no?
So, this is an exercise which requires more pressure, more negative pressure, and this pressure is generated between the tongue and the velum palatinum and the hard palate. So the donor space is closed, and the donor space cannot be opened until the seal is lost. So there are two different exercises. The exercise for the Frankel space, which can be made quite easily by swallowing only one time.
Conoces a cerrar el donder, no se puede mover la lengua.
Okay, this is very easy. And this exercise with the donor space
It's completely different. I'm surprised because when you do the Frankel, you can move your tongue.
That's it.
But when you do the donder, it's like set.
That's
like
it.
one
That's
piece.
it.
Everything.
Okay.
It's completely different. And it's harder. Wow.
And that's the difference. When we pull the device after removing the membrane, it can be pulled out easily. And now we'll show what exercise can be done without the negative pressure. This is the exercise which also is recommended with other devices. For example, to strengthen the exercise to strengthen the muscles of the perioral region. Without negative pressure, you have to pull only without force. It is easy to pull the device out, although the muscles, the perioral muscles, are activated. Now, would you please try this exercise? Put the device inside, and now without negative pressure, you can pull it against the pressure of the perioral muscles. Please.
Did I give you one?
Okay. So the same device may be used to strengthen the perioral muscles, but in a different way. And the perioral muscles usually are sufficiently strong for their function. So what we train is the position of the tongue and the closure of the valves, and not the additional activity of the perioral muscles. But it can be done with the same device also. And
Doctor, is normal that it hurts here? There's too much pressure.
this is too much pressure. The pressure inside the donor space initially needs an activation with a high negative pressure, but then you may reduce, and this is important to measure. You may reduce the pressure until a pressure of about 50 millibars.
How do you reduce it?
I'll show you. I showed you with the calibration device. Yes. So it is important to know that there are two different manners of using the device, and the normal exercise is only the exercise of the Frankel space, and in case of missing tongue activity, missing tongue position in the correct anterior and superior position, then the second exercise with the Donder space may be added.
So we need this one then, because with everybody we want the tongue to be up.
Of course, but let me show this together with the first exercises. When the first exercise of the Frankel space is activated, then the Donder space also is influenced, and the Donder space also has a negative pressure, but the degree of negative pressure is not so high. So on the long run, it is nearly impossible to use a pressure difference of about 100-150 millibar. This can be reached by closing the second compartment, but it is not necessary for every exercise when the tongue is at least in contact with the hard palate. From some studies we know that there is, in the majority of cases, not a complete contact of the tongue with the hard palate, but there is left a space of 1 or 2 millimeters underneath the roof of the oral cavity, and this is not a factor which can influence the general uplock position of the tongue. So I repeat this exercise, the simple exercise. And we can now use an endoscope to check if the tongue is in a correct position. Mm-hmm. This can be also done with radiography. We did a study using the vacuum activator when taking data radiographs. We know that the degree of negative pressure inside the Donder space can be strengthened by using the second channel directly to the Donder space. Okay, I want to show now the endoscopic control of the Donder space during the activity with the vacuum activator. I've got my endoscope, and I will place it into the position where this Donder space can be observed.
Okay.
Here we have a flexible endoscope. I also have got a light source for it, but I'm just showing this procedure without connecting it to the camera. This flexible endoscope can be placed through the nose in the position of the superior larynx, and the nasal. This endoscope can be placed into the nasopharynx to be used in judging the patency of the airway. So I place the endoscope this way through the nose, and we can observe through the nose, using it directly to the airway. We can get the endoscopic pictures later on, but this is only a demonstration of the position of the endoscope during the maneuver of uplock. So the control of the uplock maneuver may be performed by pressure or also by placing an endoscope inside the nose, just in direction of the pharynx, with a flexible optic of about 2.8 millimeters or 3.5 millimeters. Now I'm going to show you the pictures with a different endoscope which can be obtained because simultaneous observation in this context requires a lot of technique. So to repeat the use of endoscope and the vacuum activator, I'm going to place the activator now and place afterwards the endoscope. This is the principle of the use of transnasal endoscopic control. We know that the use of the manometry, the use of the vacuum activator, and the use of the transnasal flexible endoscopy gives a clear view of what's happening inside the airway and may prove the efficiency of the exercises. Okay, we will repeat this exercise with an endoscope.
With the camera.
With the camera is connected. This can be done with two examiners even better. So